So, Marcus Yamamoto ended up responding to the videos made on his awful response on Azelf 101's commentary on his first response to Azelf's commentary on Nitro Rad's response to Jimmy Witzel's review on Yokai Watch. I'm gonna take the game also in this video, but I will make several points that he didn't bring up. Though I don't have much to say about the first portion of the video, which is on Halo Fan, there are a couple of points that bugged me.
While yokai with a U or the real-life mythos have been around for a long time, yokai with a hyphen haven't.
What the fuck is the difference? Wait a minute, something's not right.
They are simply based off of the mythos and, get this, made up by level 5.
Azelf is being possessed by a Pokemon.
Okay, since when was she complaining about Pokemon? I mean, you brought it up, but you just bring it up for no reason at all.
Okay, Marcus, you'll have to wait a second because Halo Fan is giving me way too much material to work with. So let me change my avatar for a second. Halo Fan, she wasn't complaining about Pokemon in the first place. Marcus never even brought that up. He was saying that she was possessed by a Pokemon as a pot shot because he felt like she was biased towards Pokemon by saying yokai were made up. Which is rather ironic considering his bias towards Yokai Watch, but I digress.
Well, didn't you know? Pokemon is satanic. I mean, go watch Did You Know Gaming's episode on Pokemon religion. It basically proves that Pokemon is satanic.
Now, I did watch the video in question, and there is evidence to Pokemon being satanic.
There's a theory perpetuated by some fundamentalist Christians that claims Pokemon encourages Satanism. At the core of this belief is the suggestion that Pokemon promotes evolution and the occult, which are believed to be anti-Christian and satanic. This is partly based on claims that, in certain cases, Pokemon can only evolve through the use of supposed magic evolution stones. Pokemon can also be controlled using gym badges, similar in nature to magical talismans such as the Seal of Solomon. The Seal of Solomon is noted in medieval Islamic, Christian, and Jewish traditions for giving King Solomon supernatural powers.
Of course, this could also be a coincidence, something that you don't take into account, as well as the fact that this is all cherry picking because there are some things in the video that go against this claim, like how the Pope himself deemed Pokemon as harmless.
Concerns from the Christian community became so widespread by the turn of the millennium that even the Pope waited on the controversy. However, the message from the Vatican wasn't what people expected to hear, as the Vatican broadcast public approval of Pokemon. They not only stated that the games contained no harmful moral side effects, but also that the series was based on ties of intense friendship and was full of inventive imagination.
You know what, Gaijin, could you explain this?
The design of the yokai are both charming and accurate.
No, frick you, and frick your media clip.
You take that back about Gaijin!
You could have.
Would you please just actually make a good damn point?
I was making a good point, you dipshit! Gaijin was supposed to explain that the designs for the yokai resonate with Japanese history and culture, but Azelf decided to be a little bitch and stomp him out! Why are you people not getting Japanese culture? Oh my god!
You do know that what one person may see as a good point, another person may not, right? You probably should avoid subjectivity as much as possible when you're trying to debunk targets. As for you, Halo Fan, you aren't even telling him why his point wasn't a good one. You're just saying that it was bad because reasons that I don't know. The next portion of the video is on Night Tie Die, aka J Foxwell, but I don't have anything to say about it. The biggest problems in this video, for me at least, come up when he covers Mr. A and Lunatic's video on him.
Ah! High-pitched noises!
So I find this weird, to be honest. You sped it up to an absurdly fast level since it was boring, but, you know, you could have straight up cut it out as that was an easier alternative.
Hey! Fast forwarding is my drug, okay? It's my cocaine! Don't judge me!
I judge what I want. In all seriousness, the point still stands that you could have skipped it, as well as the fact that the pitch can be grating to some people, something that was implied by what Mr. A said.
Also, now my skin is crawling, so thanks a lot, you twig. You're welcome. Hey look, I beat Sonic Forces for the 3rd time. Who the fuck plays Sonic Forces? It's such a garbage game.
Kill the music!
Bloody hell, the black bars are still there!
Are you guys really making a big deal about a minor issue? You're so pathetic.
Even though you could have just enlarged the background behind your avatar, and if your avatar and background are all one picture, then enlarge that. Simple problem, simple solution. But even then, Mr. A was over-exaggerating to make a point and a joke, yet you took it seriously. The joke, I mean.
Oh. Okay. We spent nearly 3 minutes of your video waiting for you to interject for this. You know, this is where my point about cutting crap out comes back into play. For a moment where all you do is just say, I agree, and change your avatar to DOS-looking Mega Man over here, you really didn't need to have Ozzy's 1 minute of explaining what the video was about play through. Also, this design! No disrespect, but we really playing Mega Man DOS up in here.
Hey!
I like to see you try to draw a better Mega Man, okay?
That doesn't change the fact that Lunatic thinks your OC looks dumb. Someone who isn't an artist can still judge art, like how someone who isn't a chef can still judge food. Also, he was obviously joking, yet you took it seriously. Crap, what was that?
This is my Mona Lisa, okay?
Your Mona Lisa sucks.
It is the cutest Rockman that you're ever gonna see.
I've seen cuter. What? I'm just responding to every single thing, like Marcus did in his original.
Is this better? Well, now you actually sound like a robot, so there's that at least. Okay, I'm gonna sound like this from now on.
Sorry about that, I couldn't help myself. And if you're wondering what I'm using, I use iMovie and Animation Creator.
This really doesn't help your case, Marcus.
Well, honestly, I just want to clear up what I use, because some people are probably gonna assume that I use Microsoft. Which I don't.
Oh look! You took Lunatic out of context!
This really doesn't help your case, Marcus. In fact, it makes it worse. With that editing software, it's honestly embarrassing how your video looks. I mean, this is the level of me when I edited with Movie Maker. Really, this point doesn't excuse how piss poor your video looks, just saying.
Please just don't do this, because it just comes off as cherry picking.
No, screw you. You don't get to use Talented Tank Engine.
Hello, Mattel. This is Marcus Yamamoto. I do the voice for Hero for the Thomas Creator Collective. I would like to
Drag.
against
Drag.
yeah.
Drag.
Awesome
I'm totally not plagiarizing YouTube, dude, right now.
the game.
Drag.
I see this lawsuit.
Drag.
Oh,
Drag. It's also painfully awkward.
guess what? You're getting sued.
Okay, while the overall concept of yokai are not made up unlike Pokemon or Digimon, yeah, Marcus. Yokai, a class of supernatural monsters, spirits, and demons in Japanese folklore. Remember that last line. Folklore, the traditional beliefs, customs, and stories of a community passed on through the generations by word of mouth. Now, nowhere in this definition is it stated that folklore isn't real, but to be clear, folklore is usually used in a sense where it is implied that something isn't real.
But it didn't say folklore was fake. So that means it could probably be real.
He just said it was implied, which means that it wasn't directly said. However, you couldn't listen to that. Why? As well as the fact that some things can just have deeper meanings. In this case, folklore doesn't need to be outright said to be fake. You do know that something can be implied, yet still means something, right?
That's what she said. Oh, fuck you. No, fuck you.
Have you ever even read the Yokai Watch manga? Or watched the Yokai Watch movies?
What does bringing up those things even have to do with what itself said? If we're talking exclusively about the games, then the manga and movies would be irrelevant to the discussion.
This is not just the game. This is the entire series. Okay?
The video that started this clusterfuck of a chain was Jimmy's original video on the games. The discussion is on the games, not the entire franchise. Not to mention the fact that you just come off as really salty on this part. I mean, I get that you like Yokai Watch, but my god, you do not have to be this angry about it. And if you're upplaying anger for a joke, then honestly, I'm not sure what to say, because I can barely tell. Honestly, the anger sounds realistic, but that just might be me.
In fact, it would make the argument look worse, considering the audience would be forced to consult supplementary material to understand something that should be explained in the games, provided that detail is even important to begin with, and that's bad storytelling.
Your mommy is bad storytelling.
Very mature, Marcus. Very mature.
No, I'm Rockman.
No, we are not doing this again.
Yeah, you wanna fucking fight? Bring it on! I got metal blades for days!
Shut up.
But Axel is a robot.
No, Axel is a Reploid. A new type of Reploid. And yes, I know that because I did my research. I'm not big into Mega Man X, but at least I did my research!
Marcus! No! I need to point out how a Reploid is basically the same thing.
Yeah, I can tell. They have never played a Mega Man game before. And that is a huge shocker.
A Reploid is an android, and an android is a humanoid robot. This took me less than a minute to research. Also, say it with me now. You took lunatic out of cot, you're not saying it with me.
Marcus! No! I need to point out how a Reploid is basically the same thing as a robot. Yes, in the universe of Mega Man X, the term Reploid is given to the type of robots who are made with free will. However, they are still robots. Made of metal, having been built. It's like the difference between a yokai and a ghost. There may be some, but there really isn't much of a difference, as they're both spirits.
Yes, Baldwin McNose here explained the difference between ghosts and yokai in Nancy's video, but let's be real. They're basically two regions' different interpretations of the same concept.
You made it look like Lunatic only said a Reploid is a robot because I say so. When in reality, he expanded on this point, but you couldn't be bothered to listen to that.
Now, what's wrong with this picture?
That you watch your anime via somewhat sketchy means?
No. This is about the anime unable to be streamed to a wide audience. And plus,
Desperate measures have to be taken, man.
a total of 192 episodes and 2 movies completely unsubbed.
And just how are we supposed to draw that conclusion with the information conveyed?
This is about the anime unable to be streamed to a wide audience.
Oh my god! You just said that! Next time, do not repeat the same exact thing you said one interjection ago. Repeating yourself isn't inherently a problem as long as you can add on to and expand upon what you said before, but you didn't do that. On top of that, how does this change Mr. A's point? No, seriously. How does the anime not being able to be streamed to a live audience change the fact that Mr. A thinks that you shouldn't be drawing these conclusions?
Okay, I get it. Pokemon is popular, but what about Yokai Watch? Give Yokai Watch a chance to shine.
Alright, I'm gonna stop your tangent right here. There's a completely valid reason why Yokai Watch has been overshadowed by Pokemon. Both games are published on Nintendo devices. Take the average consumer. Since the games are very mechanically similar at face value, they would likely assume it's some cash grab Pokemon clone and therefore won't touch it. This is especially the case here in the States with how Yokai Watch had quite the rocky start. The bottom line is that Nintendo is cannibalizing the sales of Yokai Watch because its main series titles are being launched on the same device as Pokemon, the 3DS. At the end of the day, it's a result of some poor decisions in marketing combined with consumer consensus.
Okay, stop right there. No, Nintendo has nothing to do with this, alright?
Despite the fact that Game Freak, the creators of Pokemon, are owned by Nintendo, and both Yokai Watch and Pokemon games were published on the 3DS, but I digress.
They have nothing to do with this whatsoever. They are not responsible for Yokai Watch. Level 5 is.
He never said that they were responsible for Yokai Watch. He said the games were on the Nintendo 3DS, which they are. Think before you speak, then don't speak.
Pokemon is trying to destroy every video game series!
Overreactions. That is all.
It really isn't anything to get worked up over.
Yes, it is!
Is it really though? It's just one video game franchise being outsold by another video game franchise that is just a lot more popular and has been around for a lot longer. And no, that's not me saying that age dictates quality because I know you hate that. I'm not trying to piss you off.
And just because something is older does not make them superior, okay?
I'm bringing this up because Yokai Watch was first introduced a few years ago, while Pokemon has been around since 1996. One franchise has had a lot more time to sell than the other.
No, you can't love both things. You can only choose one. You have to pick one over the other. Because that's life. There is no in-between or both. There's only one.
You can like two things the exact same.
No, you cannot!
Okay, but why? Why can't a person not like two things the exact same? Now, you do not have to expand upon every single thing you say. That would be absurd. However, if you're going to tell Azzy that she's obligated to pick one thing over the other, then you probably should say why. And you cut out context again. Oh my god. Stop it.
Insanity. The state of being seriously mentally ill or madness. Sentence example. Lunatic the game lost his goddamn sanity because Marcus Yamamoto refuses to accept the idea that people can like two things the same as if life is built around choosing one around the other. If you excuse me, Marcus, like the good book says, you can like two things the exact same. For frick's sake, the way you're trying to push this onto Ozzy is really annoying. It just shows how your childish love for yokai can make you.
Boy, I seriously hope you're joking. But even in spite of that, for a majority of those examples, you can buy both games.
Wait, what examples? Anyone who didn't see the original will be completely lost here, so I need to play a clip.
No, you can't love both things. You can only choose one. You have to pick one over the other, because that's life. White Birthright or Black Conquest. Team Blues or Team Colonel. Gonzo Spirits or Hunky Souls. Marvel or DC. Mario or Sonic. Pacifist or Genocide. Hero or Scrapper. There is no in-between or both. There's only one.
But you have to pick one favorite, alright? One favorite!
Somebody's mad. Seriously though, a consumer can buy both products, and just because a person can only have one favorite, which is mostly up to the choice of said person, but I digress, that doesn't change the fact that a person can buy both games.
And for the Marvel vs. DC and Mario vs. Sonic examples, you can like both.
Oh, you are so naive. Now, the Marvel and DC topic, I'm gonna have to discuss that in another video. But overall, you have to pick one favorite.
Oh my god, you've repeated this point 3 times now. We get it. You think that person can only have one favorite.
Also, why did you use the Japanese version of the coin reveal trailer for Smash 4 when the English one was readily available? Ignoring the fact that this is you essentially playing a media clip for the sake of playing a media clip?
Because I'm Japanese, and Melkorn is canonically Japanese? Are you questioning my nationality or something?
Doesn't change the fact that there is an English version and you speak English.
There's no room for friendship in Pokemon!
You know that most yokai in Japanese mythology are evil, right? Or at the very least mischievous?
Not every yokai is evil or completely hostile. There are thousands, probably thousands of yokai that are 100% harmless and won't even hurt a fly.
He said most yokai, which means a majority, not all of them. Listen to the freaking video.
Not to mention, friendship is one of the main freaking themes of the Pokemon franchise.
Yeah, sure, it's about friendship, because capturing wild fantasy animals, forcing it to bond with you, train them up to become a Mortal Kombat-styled killing machine, just to become a master of everything, is considered friendship. It's not like I have to feed them a specific food in order for them to become my friend, or at the very least be helpful by completing their request. That would be ridiculous and a complete waste of time and money!
Oh look, a point that was taken out of context. Why am I not surprised?
Not to mention, friendship is one of the main freaking themes of the Pokemon franchise. Hell, in some of the games, I bet you that's like half of the dialogue, right, eh?
Wait, what?
Heck, I know this is somebody who only recently started playing the games with Moon. The bonds between fellow trainers, the bonds between family, the bonds between trainers and Pokemon.
Am I like the only guy who got Sun instead of Moon?
Heathen.
Hey, Post Mr. A here. I realize that friendship is also an applicable concept in the games, because your friendship with certain Pokemon directly affects the strength of a handful of moves, and is the influencer behind some Pokemon evolutions. So yeah, safe to say that friendship is a deep-rooted concept in Pokemon.
And that's where I would end it, but Marcus decided to respond to Dalswick's commentary on his response to Nintendo's video on Spider-Man cartoon of 2017. And the video sucks. I forgot to say the. God dang it!
I haven't read any of the comics. Just remember this for later. You're probably gonna need it.
Yeah, I also want you guys to remember this, because the payoff won't exactly be as phenomenal as Spidey here believes it will be.
But I know all the basics about the characters and storyline. There's more to that than meets the eye, okay?
I'm also a fan of most of the movies. Homecoming had a basic story but was very fun to watch, and the original Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies are all good, despite being covered in a very thick layer of cheesiness.
You're cheesy.
I think by now you've probably started to see what the problems with this video are. Marcus, I know what you're going for. I get the fact that you want to throw in some jokes and make a response all at once. But here's the thing. That first interjection of the clip that I just played, I had no idea what to think of it. If it was an attempt at humor, then I just didn't get the joke at all. But if it was a serious point, then you really need to elaborate further.
No, it was just me insulting him.
Yeah, but there's nothing Nintendo said that would make him cheesy. Even as an insult, this fails. To be cheesy, Nick would have to be shabby, inauthentic, fake, or just trying too hard. However, Nick was none of these things. Or maybe he was, and you just didn't point it out because you're an awful presenter. Even as an insult, this fails and just feels forced.
This was such a brief interjection, and I didn't take anything away from it. As for the second interjection, again, I get that it's a joke, but simply saying,
"You're cheesy,"
just isn't funny. It's just filler at this point. It doesn't serve a purpose. You're just butting into the video to say nothing that's really of substance, and it can be quite boring.
Well, my apologies. I will improve my humor in the future.
It is fine that you agree with Dalswick that your humor sucks. However, just making an interjection to say, I agree, wastes the time of the audience. You could have skipped over this and wrote a text annotation to why you're skipping. Or sped it up or something, I don't know.
Simply titled Spider-Man, or Marvel Spider-Man if you don't feel like calling it Spider-Man 2017. I'm really starting to hate this common trend of reboots that share the same names as the originals, since now you have to differentiate each property using the year that it came out in. Come to think of it, that's actually the only problem I have with the DuckTales reboot so far.
They're doing that because they want to go back to their old roots. God, you're so stupid.
What? Nintendo most likely got it. He's saying that he doesn't like the fact that the title is just simply Spider-Man, because the only way to differentiate separate cartoon series with the same exact names as one another is to reference the year that it came out, especially now since there are 3 other Spider-Man animated series with that exact same title.
Before we continue, I just need to point out something to Dalswick. So, you do know that the 1994 Spider-Man cartoon is actually called Spider-Man the Animated Series, right? It does have its own title. I mean, sure, it's not plastered on the intro, but at least it's a title.
While I can grant you that you are correct as to why they decided to go with such a simple name, your interjection here is just clunky in its approach. Nintendo was criticizing the fact that the name is identical to the other 3 shows, possibly implying that they could have come up with a much more original name for the series, especially since that's a fairly easy goal to accomplish. He's not stupid for not knowing the reason why the show's name is the way it is, and even if he did, the criticism likely wouldn't change, nor would he still be stupid for having his reservations. He's just giving his personal thoughts on why he doesn't like the title.
At first I wondered why the creators decided to give their show such a boring and uncreative name.
Wait, you're just gonna keep this part of Dalswick in without interjecting or arguing anything he said? Call this a major nitpick if you would, but you could have cut this entirely. Also, I'm skipping because Marcus admits where he screwed up, which is nice, but it's mostly just him agreeing with Dull again.
We have the typical Spidey origin story, where Peter Parker is an average kid that no one understands until he gets bitten by a radioactive spider and his life gets flipped upside down. Check it out, I flipped the image on screen upside down to correspond with when I said upside down. I'm like the best editor in the world.
First off, that is Spider-Man's exact origin, okay? That's the exact same origin that we've heard over 1,000 times. And for me, I never get tired of hearing that. No matter how you change it up, I'll always love it. Do you even know what happened the last time Spider-Man tried to do something different? Crap. Crap reviews. Everything was just went out the garbage can. It just went into the garbage can. That's what happened. It It was bad, okay?
Oh boy, okay. First of all, yeah, we know that it's the exact same origin story, which is what Nintendo is criticizing. The fact that he's seeing it again after multiple series and 2 movies that didn't deviate too much from one another. Now, whether or not they're exactly the same, I don't know, but I can see where he's coming from. Most people are aware of the Spider-Man origin story and are likely sick of constantly seeing it. This is a common complaint within Spider-Man media, especially when discussing the movies. It's the fact that people are so familiar with it that we don't exactly need to keep seeing it rebooted. That's what he's trying to say.
Alright, after thinking about it, I think I have come to a conclusion to this. If I recall, this Spider-Man cartoon is supposed to be geared towards kids who don't know anything about Spider-Man. Thus, an origin story had to be presented. Nintendo and everyone else were probably acting like inconsiderate assholes because they have already seen the origin story too many times and didn't take into consideration that there might be people who don't know about Spidey's origin.
Holy crud, this dragged on forever. But yeah, this point kinda sucks. As a critic, Nintendo is going to talk about how he feels about the show. He's going to talk about the positives and negatives and his perspective. This isn't a complete newcomer's review of Spider-Man 2017. This is his, considering the fact that he already admitted that he's familiar with Spider-Man earlier in the video.
But I know all the basics about the characters and storyline.
Also, I'm skipping again.
But cutting out most of Peter's serious struggles gets rid of a lot of the character's depth.
Yeah, everything has to be gritty and serious and super edgy. That's how I like my superheroes.
Ah, fuck you. Go die in a hole or something.
Dude, you have got to find a better way to structure these interjections. Hell, I have my own arguments that I can make against Nintendo's points, but I'll just save those for later. Regardless, that was just childish. Not just because of the weird taunting at the beginning, but with the comment that you made at the end, you just did not present yourself well at all. It's uncomfortable to just watch someone behave like this unironically.
Alright, this dude probably has not watched the rest of my episodes or didn't get the point of what I was trying to prove.
Even though he shouldn't watch those episodes to respond to this one, but details.
A lot of comic book fans expect superhero stories to be gritty and serious, which is caused by DC's Dark Knight trilogy. Not every superhero has to be gritty and serious. Think about the children. Do you want them to be raised properly with sympathy and logical thinking? Or at the very least just act like a normal human being? Or do you want them to just act like an idiotic edgelord?
But that doesn't argue Gull's point that the crap you pulled earlier was unneeded and felt uncomfortable to watch. I don't even know what you're trying to do here because you sure as heck aren't refuting anything, which is the main point of response videos and commentaries. And if the message you were trying to convey was that superheroes shouldn't be gritty and serious all the time, and they should keep compassion in mind, then you did this in the worst ways possible. You shoved words in his mouth, seeing as how Nick never said that Spider-Man should be gritty and serious. He was saying that the reboot removed a lot of depth towards Peter Parker as a character. Something can have a lot of depth without being gritty and edgy.
But cutting out most of Peter's serious struggles gets rid of a lot of the character's depth.
You also mocked him and gave him the middle finger, which is ironic coming from someone who pulled the Think About the Children card. Please enjoy this clip without any context.
They also answer questions that fans have pondered for ages, like what happened to Bernie Sanders after he lost the election in the Marvel Universe. Apparently, he became Harry Osborn's chauffeur.
What? I have nothing to say.
Well, if that's the case, then just don't interject at all.
Well, what if there's people that probably think I'm interested in politics? You never thought of that, didn't ya? And just to be clear, no, I don't give a shit about politics.
You didn't debunk Smick's point that this was unneeded filler that could have been removed entirely. Stop. Please.
Peter's almost always saying something nerdy or science-related because the writers really want you to know that he's a nerd who loves science. This in turn downgrades his origin story, since he uses the steps of the scientific method to understand his powers. This causes the shorts that form the series' origin episode to be formulaic and have very little stakes.
Yeah, I can tell. You pretty much fail your science class. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, you should probably be kicked out of school by now.
Okay, what does that have to do with what he just said? He was saying that the writers were practically beating us over the head with the fact that Peter is a science whiz. If this was a joke, well, again, you need to work on your delivery and structuring these jokes better. But if it was serious, then you need to pay more attention to what he was saying.
Yeah, I can tell. You're a bonehead.
Your memes are as dead as Dosmic himself.
No, but in all seriousness, Nintendo really seems to hate science.
This doesn't change the fact that Nintendo doesn't like the show reminding him every 2 seconds that Peter is a nerdy character. Oh my gosh.
Which once again is disappointing considering how interesting the origin of this character has been before. Also, whenever Peter's Spider-Man, he never shuts up.
So what? You don't shut up!
I know that Spider-Man is known for his one-liners during fights, but 95% of what he says isn't even funny. What?
That's because your sense of humor is on the level of Batman.
That has absolutely nothing to do with anything he just said.
It has everything to do with what he just said, bonehead! This guy clearly favors DC over Marvel. If he's not gonna enjoy the jokes, then he shouldn't be watching a Marvel cartoon in the first place. If he wants to enjoy something gritty and serious, then he should be watching DC cartoons. End of story.
Teen Titans Go and the original Super Friends. That is all. Even then, the original Teen Titans also had a big emphasis on humor.
Now, while Teen Titans makes damn good action and horror episodes, they also have a knack for being funny.
So generalizing DC cartoons as dark and gritty is kinda dumb to say the least. There is more to DC than just Batman. There is a supervillain of the Flash who's a freaking gorilla, mind you.
Most of these characters are only really here because they're recognizable Spider-Man characters, and almost all of them don't have any unique character traits or even unique designs.
Says the person that doesn't read the comics.
I haven't read any of the comics.
It doesn't matter what the comics have to do with these characters being portrayed the way they are. Are you aware that this is a common complaint within other Spider-Man properties?
Are you sure that's not some type of rumor? Or probably something that came out of a DC fan's ass?
Are you sure this is an assumption at best? Because nothing Doswick said here would imply that he's a DC fanboy. Also, it's DC fans' ass, not DC fans' ass.
A lot of the adults in particular don't have any diverse features.
Probably because you're not an artist, you fuckhead.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, take a look at this cake. It looks like shit, doesn't it?
No, it just looks like leftovers from a kid's party.
Sure, but would you really eat that?
Oh wait, I'm not an experienced baker. Does that mean that I can't comment on how shitty this cake looks?
Well, that's what you think. But what I think is that I'm gonna eat this cake for dessert because I'm just gonna appreciate what I have.
No! You don't deserve cake. Ever. You must pay the consequences and starve. All crappy acting aside, you missed the point of his analogy. He was saying that someone who isn't an artist can judge art, like how someone who isn't a chef can judge food. Also, let's be honest here. Would you rather eat this cake or this cake? Also, I'm really hungry now.
But I guess the team behind this show just doesn't want to try anything new.
Yeah, because this shit happened.
That's hardly an excuse not to try something new, though.
Yeah, and how did that go?
Okay, what is this audio editing? My left ear hates you now.
But no, it turned into a piece of shit. Thanks a lot, Sony!
Oh my gosh. Were you even listening to him, or were you just going to repeat the same dumb point again? Honestly, Dulcimic took the words out of my mouth. Just because something happens once doesn't mean it'll happen again. Plus, experimentation can help with Spider-Man cartoons and movies in the future. This is such a weak excuse. Now, this video is a lot better than your video on Mr. A, Lunatic, Nighttime Guy, and Halo Fan, but that's not saying much. My main problem is that there's interjections where you do not even debunk Dulcimic's point at hand. Other than that, if you ever do response videos again, which I doubt is likely, you may want to watch the video several times before responding to that. But that's where I'm ending it today. Or whatever day you're watching this. Goodbye.